Welcome to Season 2 of the Craft Beer Connoisseurs Podcast. I'm Brett. If you're new to the podcast, we are three friends and a producer who like to showcase craft breweries and their beers. Also, we like to end every episode with a short conversation on a variety of different topics. If you're not new to the podcast, well, welcome back. We will keep things similar to Season 1. After all, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Whether you're new or returning, please feel free to listen to all of our Season 1 content. And remember to follow us on Instagram at Craft Beer Cons, send a friend request on Untappd, or subscribe on YouTube at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. Also, drop a comment, like, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Now, for today's episode. Welcome to Craft Beer Connoisseurs. I'm Brett.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Tyler. And along with us today is producer Parker.
Peter Parker?
Nope, just Parker.
Just Parker.
Okay, all right. So in today's episode, we're going to be reviewing Spearhead Brewing, which is in Canada's original capital, Kingston, Ontario.
Very nice.
So research.
Yes, not bad. So we got two beers on today, like we usually do. We've got their first one is going to be a flagship, which is the Hawaiian Pale Ale. I like that. I like the sounds of that. And the second one we're going to be having is their newest version of lighter lager.
And to finish up the episode in honor of Tyler getting married, as this is the last main episode before he ties the knot, we talk about our
presumably.
Yeah, yes, that's true. Still TBD. But we will talk about our favorite Tyler stories and life moments.
That's going to be a very short segment.
And we're back. Spearhead is located at 675 Development Drive in Kingston.
They finishing the development anytime soon?
I don't know, you tell me.
It's a never-ending development.
And the brewery opened its bricks and mortar location in 2018. But prior to that, they started out in the contract process, connecting the recipes with established breweries, one of them being the Hawaiian-style pale ale that we're going to have in a little bit. And that was made through Cool Brew before getting their own definitive location, and Tom Schmidt was the man behind it all at the time.
Yeah, so a little bit of history here. So in 2013, Josh Hader, who is now the...
sounds like Josh Hader, not the hard-throwing lefty.
Not the pitcher for the Brewers.
Hater, not Hader. Okay.
Now the president of Spearhead ordered a Spearhead beer from... Say what?
Good job.
Which is one of the original craft beer bars in Ontario.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then he was given he gave the company a call saying that they should be pulling that product. He's created a craft beer blog called beersnob.ca, along with working in IT before joining as an investor in Spearhead. So Spearhead was kind of at a crossroads. The beer was selling well in LCBO, the contract beer, and with licensees. However, their contracting partner made a really, really bad batch to the point where the LCBO pulled it due to a lack of good product.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
You don't want that to ever happen,
You
right?
definitely don't want that.
So within this, the real estate search intensified and widened from Toronto to the GTA and even ventured kind of to Lake Huron, surprisingly enough.
They were looking for anywhere.
Yeah. You got to go somewhere, right?
You do.
The investment team then met.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
English.
Tough one. In Kingston, we're actually, where one of the members actually ran a business. And we're discussing their lack of options in that area. So the investor then took a call during their meeting from one of the tenants in actually one of the large industrial facilities, stating that they were vacating the space. And bada bing, bada boom. The rest is history.
As they say.
Under development, back to development, right? It's just that simple.
They are in a drive to developing.
There you go.
So today, Tom is still behind it as the brewmaster. He kind of retired and then unretired, as he's able to work with his son Jacob, who is also the head brewer at Spearhead.
Nice.
And a couple of partnerships that Spearhead is involved with in terms of a few of their staple beers. Somebody heard of the Sam Roberts Band?
I have.
Yes. So they make a refreshing amber. I'm not a huge fan of the band per se, but I like the collaboration. Queen of Wheat. So they joined forces with Ronana Way, I hope I'm saying that correctly, and the Canadian Center for Gender and Sexual Diversity, where proceeds of the sales are donated to them.
Nice.
And Morena is now actually the first drag queen to be pictured on a can sold at the LCBO.
Hey.
Nice.
In terms of that, yes. Yeah. In terms of that beer, it was actually a seasonal beer, and now it is actually a full-time beer.
Nice. Well, we will say also that in addition to the 2 beers that Spearhead sent us for today's episode, they actually threw in a couple more, one of which being the Queen of Wheat. Yeah, say what? So we do have the Queen of Wheat, which we will certainly drink offline.
Yes.
I love that.
And another partnership that they have, before we move on, the Decoy Lager. So they are in partnership with Ducks Unlimited Canada, where for every 6-pack, $1 is donated to the Wildlife Habitat Conservation.
Nice.
Nice.
I do have a key memory going back into my head here where I went to a conservation area, which was funded by Ducks Unlimited. And I don't know why, but that memory is stuck in my head. So.
And you were drinking a Decoy Lager? Or?
I wasn't. I was really young. I remember having it.
He was under the legal drinking age.
Yeah. I had a sandwich there, though. I do recall.
Oh, that's nice. What type of sandwich?
I don't. It's so strange.
Ham, turkey.
This is just it's stuck in my head. It's great. So on Untappd, there's 56 different beers actually created by Spearhead with over 54,000 check-ins.
That's actually a lot of check-ins for them.
Yeah. So let's kind of go through this a little bit. Brad, how many have you had?
I've had 6, and this is a very unique conundrum here. My highest rating of a Spearhead beer is a 4 for the beer called 4.
Really?
Yes, that is
4.
not the golf 4, just the number 4.
I
IPA.
feel like you did that on purpose. You're like,
100%.
This is a 3.5, but I'm going to give it a 4 because it's called 4.
No, you go back and look at it.
Oh, that doesn't prove anything.
I round this up. The producer, Parker, 4 as well. Highest was the New England IPA at 3.75. Chris and myself, again, another goose egg.
I was going to say, it seems to be a continuous theme here.
Yeah.
You know what? That's okay because we fared well with Brock Street. I hope we do the same here with Spearhead.
Yeah. So one of the things contributing to Spearhead's 54,000 check-ins, which is, I would say is quite a bit, is
That's really good.
They're quite available in most LCBOs, beer stores, and sprinkled amongst the grocery stores throughout the province. So the Hawaiian Pale Ale, which we are having on the episode, is available in the LCBOs, beer stores, and grocery stores. Same with the Queen of Wheat, which just hit the LCBO shelves. The Summer Ale and the Lighter Lager, again, which we're going to be having. So definitely go on their website, use their beer locator, and you can find the Spearhead beer near you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. And the newest release, as of the recording date that they graciously sent over as well, was the Green Tea and Cherry Blossom Saison.
Well, that sounds really interesting.
They really spoiled us here with
Yes, they did.
with the beers that they sent us.
Some Queen of Wheat, some Cherry Blossom Saison, and also sent us some non-alcoholic sparkling hop water
Oh.
Yeah.
called Aqua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean we've got 3 extra cans of beverages from them, which is awesome.
Very nice. So now the tap room offers a full selection of beers. We've not taken the tour to Kingston.
Yeah,
right?
none of us have been to the tap room, right?
But if we did go, we would see the full selection of beers, the spirits as well. So if you're kind of not feeling that beer vibe, you have somebody with you that can't have beer, this is an opportunity.
Or the aqua, if you don't want anything alcoholic.
Sure, that's a good call as well, just in case somebody is DDing. Got to be safe out there. They also have some local food offerings, but you can also order something in if you choose. So if you have a favorite restaurant in the area, by all means, you can go ahead and order that.
Order some McDonald's. Bring it in to Spearhead.
Some people have different taste in favorite restaurants, but we now know Brett's. Also, a full list of events that they've got, including Industry Night and Open Mic Night. Get Brett
away from that.
I was just going to say that if we're coming, maybe not have an open mic.
Well, the
night
good news is I can't sing, and the only musical instrument I can play is a triangle.
That's good.
So you know what? I think we'll stay away from that. But if you are going to be in the tap room, you're not going to see me doing open mic night, but you can be there between the hours of 12 and 7, Sunday to Tuesday, and Wednesday to Sunday from 12 till 10.
Now, if you want to get delivery and you're in the Kingston area, then it's free.
Free.
But for those who are outside of the Kingston area, it is shipped with ICS Courier, which it was right to my door within 7 days.
And it did make it within that 7 days?
Oh, yeah. It was like 2 days.
Very nice.
Chris actually timed it. He started a stopwatch.
There you go.
It came around.
It's called tracking. All right. Well, as always, we're going to link their information on our social media.
And I feel as though we are on track to maybe have the first beer.
Yes, we are.
Okay,
All right, let's do it. A big props and thank you to Jackson at Spearhead for coordinating the beers for today's episode.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jackson. Appreciate that.
Yes. And the first beer we're having is the Hawaiian Pale Ale.
Oh, yeah.
6% and 60 IBUs.
Nice.
All right.
We haven't
well,
seen a beer listed with IBUs in a while, I feel like.
yeah.
It's been a bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So this is described as a bold, hoppy West Coast pale ale brewed Hawaiian style. Now, what is Hawaiian style, you ask?
Please tell me.
With pineapple.
Oh, I was going to say they brewed it with floral t-shirts.
Oh, maybe. Maybe with a, what's it called, a lei on top of the can?
Yeah, I was staying away from it.
It is naturally carbonated, unfiltered, and dry hopped to provide a delicate, complex flavor and bouquet.
That's Hawaiian style.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfiltered and dry hopped. All right, so this will have hints apparently of caramel, honey, and biscuit, but then also with notes. We got a little hint, we got a little note. The notes are going to be of fresh citrus, zest, and pine for a refreshingly tropical finish.
I feel as though Hawaiian, you probably expect nothing less than a tropical finish.
You know what? I love pineapple.
I do like pineapple also quite a bit.
So I'm hoping to see the pineapple in this.
Yeah. And I agree. I would be upset if it wasn't tropical and it's Hawaiian. So on Untapped, as always, you can follow us at Craft Beer Connoisseurs and on our Instagram at Craft Beer Cons. So this beer has 11,980 check-ins, which is a lot. With
Way more than a lot of the beers we had in previous episodes.
This is one of the higher ones in a while that we've had with a 3.48 rating. So we are drinking this one out of the can. There's been 5,600 check-ins in the can with about a 3.47 rating. And draft, there's been 813.
Nice.
And a little higher than the average, which is 3.61 for the draft. Now, 232 5 out of 5s for this beer.
So we've kind of talked about this on previous producer specials as well, but again, our preference of how we like our beer served. So it's not too far-fetched to see the draft have a higher rating than the can.
It is not surprising.
Yeah. So speaking of said cans, let's grab our can. Let's grab our glass. Everybody's ready?
Yep.
And let's open her up. Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, I love that sound. All right. So this is a pale ale. So we are drinking it out of a pint glass. And if you have a Hawaiian pint glass, that's even better.
Or a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, there you go. So make
Why
sure
are
to
we not
use
wearing
your
Hawaiian
proper
shirts for
glassware.
this?
I have a pineapple shirt. I got a couple that would just look great with this beer.
Actually, yeah, you do.
So one thing to kind of note, I know we'll get into the can art in a bit here, but I do want to kind of take notice here because producer Parker did bring it up earlier with a picture, was that the can has actually changed art style. So in 2008,
Has it really?
yeah, so in 2018 it had more of I don't know, a contrasting, if you will, color scheme with it. So it was very, again, kind of basic. Yeah. But the can art has changed, and I don't know what the reasoning is for that, nor do I really care, because I really care about what's in the glass. And speaking of in the glass, Chris, what do we got in the glass?
Well, it definitely smells pretty tropical. I am getting some citrus notes, some pineapple,
Yeah, I was
like
gonna
we
say
talked
pineapple.
about. So definitely smells as advertised.
Yep. And I again, kind of got that almost, just going to bring the can up to the glass.
Oh, I see what you're doing there, Brett.
Yeah. Almost
Kind of
pretty
indulgent.
comparable,
There
right?
you go.
Kind of like that burnt orange color, if you will.
Nice.
Copper, maybe.
Copper,
Yeah.
burnt orange, yes. So yeah, just kind of.
Yeah, the can matches what's there. The head on it, very light, staying on top. Smells, I'm getting the citrus as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it tastes similar to that. Do you guys want to get into it a little bit?
Yeah,
I feel as though we
do.
should, right?
Yeah.
We could spend all day talking about it, but we got to actually drink it in order to talk more about it.
Well, I'm going to get into it. I'm
All right,
thirsty.
let's do that. A lot of bitterness on the back end.
Yeah, this did. we got the IBUs on this one. It was 60,
60,
right?
yep.
Yeah, so it definitely feels like 60. And not as much pineapple or citrus flavor as I was expecting based on the nose.
Okay.
I am getting the pineapple.
Yeah.
I am picking up on the pineapple a little bit. Definitely hoppy.
Yes.
It's a smooth beer. I am interested to see the lacing on this one, just because the kind of style that it is. I feel like I am getting a little bit as I kind of progress a little bit through it, but I think a couple more sips here, I might have a bit more of a gauge on where we're at with it. But I am getting more of that pineapple kind of flavor to it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, bro. Are you picking up anything like that, Parker?
Yeah,
what do you got?
I'm getting pineapple. Bitterness as well, hoppy. It's kind of a very tale of two-story beer, if you will. It's got kind of the pineapple on the front end, and then that back end just hits you with that bitterness.
Yeah. Yeah, and they said it was a West Coast style pale ale, which certainly fits the bill. Maybe not as West Coast as Hawaii, on that mainland West Coast, but yeah, it certainly tastes like a West Coast pale ale. So they nailed it with that, and with that, as you would expect, higher bitterness, which, like you said, is really coming through.
This is taking me to a pig roast. Just like a true, authentic pig roast that you would have, and again with ham, you get a lot of that pineapple kind of flavor profile.
Ham and pineapple go great together.
And so
yeah.
I'm smelling this, I'm tasting it now, and that's what I'm kind of getting is like a very authentic kind of pig roast on like a beach. Very Hawaiian style, a little bit of a luau, right?
And
Now
just for the listeners out there, Tyler has taken us to both a conservation area and a pig roast so far, in terms of memories of his own.
That's true.
Well, I wasn't talking about a memory. I haven't been to Hawaii for pig roast.
Conservation area, pig roast.
Just his ideas, yes, of locations, yes. Yeah. But we didn't get any food pairings with these beers, but I think for sure ham would go well with this.
Yes, that is for sure.
Yeah, cottage roll.
Cottage roll.
You ever have a cottage roll?
No.
Like bread?
No, a cottage roll.
I don't know what a cottage roll is.
Now I've been to the cottage.
Cottage roll is ham. It's usually the ham you would see, and they usually string it up.
Okay.
I'll show you it later.
All right.
Top 5 flavor profiles. Chris, why don't you do this one?
Yeah, first one is hoppy. I agree.
Agreed.
It's hoppy.
Yeah, sure.
Parker's coming in saying bitter as maybe number one.
It's like a 1A, 1B for me.
Yeah,
Sure. I'll go with
I
that.
agree. Number 2 is pineapple. Now, it sounds like you guys are getting more pineapple than I am. Like, I'm struggling to pick out that pineapple, to be honest.
All right. Fair enough.
But number 3 is smooth. You mentioned this earlier, Tyler. I do think this is pretty smooth beer. Number 4 is sweet. Getting
It
sweetness
does
from
have
this?
some sweetness to it at the very, very beginning of it. But again, it's still overpowered by the bitterness at the end.
Yeah, I'm not really picking up a whole lot of sweet. I think there could be a couple other options there.
Yeah, I don't think it's sweet. And then the 5th one is light. I don't know. I
kinda
wouldn't
in the
call
middle of
this
that.
beer light.
No.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting more, again, not a flavor profile, but we've seen it here before, is mouthfeel. I don't know if you guys are getting kind of like a mouthfeel with it. But
Not
I am.
necessarily, but
Yeah.
I see your point.
Sure.
And speaking of other people's points, Untapped. So, Chris, you have the first one.
Yes, I do. So the first one comes from Owen T. Hop Rider OT on April 8th said, the opposite of smooth, very bitter, yet still light, tasting somewhat. Tough to describe, but not my favorite. And Owen gave it a 2.75 out of 5. Now, I will say one thing I agree with Owen about is tough to describe. Like, this beer is kind of, nothing is really, other than the hoppiness and bitterness, is really standing out to me. So it is pretty tough for me to describe this one.
Yeah, fair enough. Now we might have a contrasting point with Ron F. Handle is Ron Team Fraser. On March 22nd, stated the following. Deep golden color, which we can confirm. Pineapple aroma and sweet pineapple with bitter citrus taste with mouth-watering finish. Refreshing, not bad. The rating was 3.75 out of 5.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'm going to get this ball rolling. I should have went with a luau. Darn it. With that being said, I'm going to give this beer a 3.75.
All right. I'm going to be lower. I'm going to come in with a 3.0.
Okay. For me, it is a 3.25. And just to mention the can, I know kind of said earlier that it's burnt orange, but producer is really wanting me to, nail home the can here. So just it kind of does mention to you that it is made with pride and passion throughout Kingston. And it kind of gives you, again, the description of said beer. And it has, I believe that would be what, a tiki? Is that
Tiki, good job.
Yeah,
Oh,
see?
there you go.
I know what I'm doing. and in terms of the producer, Parker, who originally had this beer August 24th, 2019.
Very specific.
Yes, at the
Very
Stratford
specific.
Beer Festival. At the time, he gave it a 3.5. Now, he is not going to give it a 3.5. I feel as though maybe he'd like it to try it off a tap or a keg, but right now he's going to give it a 3.25.
All right. So with that being said, our overall score is going to be 3.3125. Now, what we're going to do with that is we're going to drop that down to 3.25 for our overall score.
Yes, we are. And we're also going to luau onto beer number 2. All right. The second beer today is the lighter lager.
In comparison to the...
The light lager.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So this one comes in at 4.0 ABV with 10 IBUs.
Nice. So this beer is known as the beer that won't interfere.
That rhymes.
Yeah, it does. Way to go. This beer is light on alcohol and color, but not on taste, which is good.
That is good.
Yes.
Which is good.
I like taste.
So it's crushable, crisp, and refreshing. So this would be perhaps maybe your kind of like go-to, just, you know what, I want to have a couple and feel okay at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And the aroma and taste will exhibit malty sweetness with a clean, fast finish on the palate. This beer has 1,281 check-ins at the time of recording, with an average rating of 3.40 out of 5. 21 people have rated it a 5 out of 5. And when it comes to check-ins, 1,000, just over 1,000, have been checked in via can with a rating of 3.45.
Nice. All right, so we're going to grab this can again. This can looks a little different than the previous can. So they did do a kind of like a remarketing shuffle.
Nice.
Yes.
So thanks to producer Parker for coming in with some of that information. Appreciate you. Okay, grab your glass and grab your can, and let's open her up. You'll see here that Chris is looking like it's a Where's Waldo here for his glass.
Couldn't find my glass for a second there, and it was right in front of my face. Like
Yeah.
when you have your
Knows what
glasses on
glassware
top
to
of your head.
use, just can't find his glassware.
Exactly. So speaking of glassware, we are drinking out of a pint glass today, so make sure to use your proper glassware.
Nice. All right. So first things we're going to notice is using our eyeballs. We see a very light color, kind of that honeyish golden color.
Yep.
Nothing over the top with it.
Nothing
A
too extravagant.
Decent head on it. Again, just depending on how you pour it. Knowing that it is a lager, we want to kind of pour it a little bit. You can get a little aggressive with it,
Totally.
Yes, correct.
and you get a bit of a head on
Work
there.
up that head and let it dissipate.
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks decent. When you guys get anything on the nose, anything else you want to add in terms of what it looks like here?
The scent kind of like almost seems like it's a little bit sweet.
Yeah, it does. I'll mention just a little bit on the look before we get into that a bit more. A little bit more kind of opaque than you would expect from like your normal lager.
For sure.
Just a tiny bit.
I'm getting a lot of earthiness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Earthy, bready.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bready, very lagerish.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think this is going to be your typical light lager.
Yeah. Now we have done the with Brock Street not too long ago. Actually, there was a light lager there, and when we're looking at just again the color difference between the two, there's the light lager which actually looks lighter than the lighter lager,
That's true.
right?
Yeah, it
A
does.
lot of lights and lagers going on here.
And that one was actually if I'm remembering correctly, the can said 3.6%, and
Right.
this is 4. So this is actually less light than the light lager.
Than the light lager.
The lighter lager is less light than the light lager.
Whew.
Can we drink this beer?
If you're still keeping track at home, yeah.
Yeah, jeez, follow the dots,
Yeah,
right?
good Lord. Just drink the damn thing.
Let's try it.
All right.
It's got a nice finish to it. Nice, crisp, clean finish.
I'm getting crisp as well. I'm getting very lagerish. I don't know if it's a lighter lager. Like, you know what? Again, this might be a comparison thing between like their actual lager and this being the lighter version of said lager, right? And but not having the lager and the light lager beside each other, if it does so exist,
It's hard to tell, right?
it is difficult to tell what kind of differentiates between the two.
Well, I will say that they said in the description that it doesn't lack flavor. And I would agree. Like, I think this packs the same amount of flavor as you would expect from a non-light lager.
Yes.
No?
Yeah, no, I
agree.
I'm just sometimes I like to sit back and see if Brett's going to drive a bit of the conversation. You know, I don't want to be that kind of like overbearing kind of guy.
And then the odd time, I just sit back and relax and wait for Tyler to talk because that's what he likes doing best.
There it is. So I do agree with you. I think I'm getting some of those. I don't want to say bready, but like cereal again, kind of like flavor to it. Very lagerish. I appreciate the crispness of it. Very flavor forward.
Yeah, but
which is
so
nice.
I feel like we've been having a lot of lagers on the podcast lately. Like we had the London Co-op lager, we had the Brock Street lager,
lager,
and then this lager. The London Co-op one was more of that breadiness. I'm not getting as much as I would have expected in this one, especially from the smell. And then again, more flavor than probably the Brock Street light lager that we had, on our last main episode.
I think it's just providing a lot more of that malty sweetness, kind of described in the description, right? Like you're
But not overbearing.
No, not at all.
So I think that's kind of going with what Chris is saying. Is it's kind of a middle of the road
Bingo.
between the ones that we've recently had.
Yeah.
I'd say I would agree with that.
All right. Well, you know what, Brett? Why don't you do the top 5 flavor profiles?
Let's do number 1, light. Not lighter, just light.
I don't think lighter's even an option.
Yeah.
It probably isn't.
No. It is a light lager. Again, in terms of maybe like percentage where it sits, it's still kind of in that lagerish range. But I feel like this is again a comparable that we don't have the comparable to.
Yeah, I might like if I were checking this in on Untapped on any night, for example, I might leave out light in my top 5 because I feel like there are other things that are more applicable than light. So even though this is a lighter lager, it has, like we said, more flavor.
Almost like you feel like light's kind of like a cop-out when it comes to a flavor profile.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
Myself and producer Parker are really in agreement on this for number 1 being crisp.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Number 2.
I also agree.
Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you. Number 2, clean.
Yeah, I think it's very clean. I'd almost kind of like dovetail that with drinkability, and I think that the drinkability, if I had to give this, a rating out of 5 for just drinkability alone, is high. It's a very high drinkable light lager.
Yeah, totally.
Producer Parker in agreement, clean being number 2. Number 3, sweet. I find there's some sweetness to it on the back end.
Yeah, there is some sweetness, so I can't really argue too much with that.
Do you think that's coming then kind of like more of like the maltiness of it?
I think that's what it is.
Like
coming
kind of
from,
like that.
yeah.
It's a very subtle malty caramel kind of approach, which might be that sweetness coming through.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so.
Oh my God. Thank you guys.
Look at you go. Number 4, grassy.
Yeah, I'm not getting grassy at all.
I would take away grassy. I again on the nose, I was getting more of earthy tones.
Right.
I'm not getting that so much in the flavor profile of it.
Agreed.
But again, it does exist for me at least on the smell portion of it. So again, we talk about how sometimes the smell of something can dictate what you taste. In this case, it kind of it hits its fork in the road and diverges and says, here's what you're smelling, but you don't really taste that earthiness, which you can get that kind of grassy in some of these beers, but not in this case.
And then number 5, floral.
I'm not getting floral at all.
I think Parker's kind of hitting this one.
Yeah.
That there's so many other choices that you could have chosen.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes back to what you were saying too with even light.
Exactly.
Is that you could have, shifted crisp maybe into number 1 and then came back with the number 5 of something that's more cereal, bready, malty, sweet at that point.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Spot on, Parker. Congratulations.
Good job, Parker.
Good job.
John did good, kid. We'll have you back maybe for a producer special.
If you're lucky.
Maybe.
All right. And while Parker will come back, maybe what we need is some thoughts maybe for some other individuals on Untapped.
Yes,
Brett?
and I have the first one. This one's from Andy J, and his handle is Mr. Tib.
I like that.
You're right. Yes. On March 10th, stated, a little bit of apple notes coming through. It's all right. 2.75 out of 5, and he did have it on tap at Beer Town in Toronto. Is anybody getting apple notes coming here?
No.
I'm not, and I wonder if maybe the apple notes are kind of connected to the floral notes. Just when you look at how apples are made and how they grow, it could be connected to the floral aspect, but definitely not getting the full-on
I
apple.
can see it in 2% of an aspect of this. Not a... Anyway.
Yeah, nothing major in terms of
right?
apple.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
So the next one comes from Matt K. Matt Foyle, 33. Also on March 10th. Said a craft lager with no surprises, non-threatening. Matt also gave it a 2.75 out of 5. So in terms of our ratings, I hate to do this, but I think I'm going to kind of come in at my token rating for a lager at 3.5.
I'm going to also do that and be at 3.5.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not one to break a trend, so I'm going to continue with the trend. I'm going to give it a 3.5, and producer Parker is going to give it a 3.5.
Oh, Chris, do the math on that, please.
Actually,
man.
Chris, before you do it,
Yeah.
can we let Brett do the math on this one? I feel like he's owed one.
Okay. Let's see if we can do this. Would it be 3.5?
Attaboy.
Oh, man. He did it. He did it. Congrats, Brett.
And that concludes the review of Spearhead and the beers that they provided for today's episode.
I don't think it's appropriate that I go ahead
Now,
and
I
talk
can
about
do this one.
Yeah.
So, coming up, a discussion about Tyler's favorite subject. Tyler. So, when coming up for a topic of, thematic discussion for this episode, I thought I'd want to keep it really short. So, I figured we
that's a
should
good
talk
idea.
about Tyler, right? But instead, I will spearhead a discussion in terms of our favorite Tyler moments and our fondest memories of him. Now, obviously, Tyler's going to sit back, relax, and sip a little bit more of the lighter lager, while Chris and I fill time talking about our favorite moments
and
of
Parker.
Tyler.
Oh,
And Parker.
Yeah,
Parker's
he's not going to talk about it.
Oh.
He doesn't have a voice. He just writes stuff down, and we speak for him.
Parker.
But yes, he does have some.
Oh, Tyler, I thought you turned your mic off.
Yeah. What is this?
All right. Well, that's been it for today's episode. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
No. Anyway, Chris, I'll let you, obviously because you've known Tyler probably a little bit longer than I have. Sucks to be you.
You know what? It's been a tough 13 years. 13 years? 14 years?
I don't know.
Now you want my help. Now you want my help. 2011. So it actually isn't. It's been.
No, it's been before 2011.
Well,
2007 we first
2007.
met. Yeah.
But there's a story there, and I'm sure you'll tell it.
Yeah. I mean, so
14, 15.
I think you've mentioned before, Tyler, I am your co-best man at your wedding. So I don't want to necessarily like spoil my speech.
That's fair.
Right?
We're giving you one?
You can't give it all. You can't give it all away.
I don't want to say everything, but some things, that really stick out when I think of Tyler are Subway. Tyler loves his subs.
Hey, gotta eat fresh.
I remember, every day in university, maybe not every day, a lot of days, Tyler would show up at my house with a sub, and that was his one meal for the day. Still not sure how you survived with that sort of malnutrition.
This is also a guy who wants to take a cooking class.
Yeah.
Right? He eats once a day,
He's
for God's sakes.
a different man now.
Let me tell you, sometimes
Eats 1.5 times a day? Yeah.
sometimes you don't go to Subway for the sub. You go there for the person that's making the sub.
Like my wife.
It was your wife that was making me the subs, but she wasn't your wife at the time.
No, she wasn't. So there's that. A lot of definitely good memories in university. Maybe some can't necessarily share here. But
Thank you.
yeah.
Save those,
It's for the best.
save
Yes.
those for the wedding.
I guess the one thing that, Tyler maybe doesn't get enough credit for is really being, a really good friend and being there for his friends. I remember in university, he would always be, you were the one with a car and you would always be offering to drive people around.
That's where I am. Tyler's taxi.
And it's just, the little things like that.
Yes.
Heavy on the little.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in terms of my most fondest memory of Tyler, it circles back to about 2000. I think it was 13. Maybe no, I was not dating my wife, so it would have been 2013. And we had just had a night out. Just making sure.
Do you date your wife?
Oh, you know what I meant. Anyway,
90-day fiance.
yeah.
Back to
She still
love
dislikes you for
his
that
love-
comment, by the way. Anyway, so we had just gone out for a night out in Guelph, and then we had kind of carpooled together from Stratford. And Tyler at the time was living in St. Mary's, so we kind of we met at a parking lot in Stratford and went our separate ways because I lived in Mitchell at the time. And about 5 minutes later, I had a flat tire. So I, did what I could, and then gave Tyler Sager a call. So Tyler was kind enough, as you mentioned, he's always a person you can count on to do lots of things in terms of changing a flat tire. The best part about this whole thing is that he comes and helps, me, and we kind of figure out that I do not have the necessary requirements to change the flat tire. I also called my dad.
Two hands and a brain.
I also called my dad at the same time. So then my dad shows up, and then my dad and myself, we pretty much watched Tyler change a flat tire. It was great.
Nice.
It changes flat tire in a white shirt. Just
Yep. Yep.
like 3-degree weather.
Yeah.
So it's funny you say
He
that.
was not prepared for that.
It's funny you say
weather-wise.
that because I was actually driving to work back in the second week of April, and on my way to work, I saw an individual that was pulled off the side of the road who I actually worked with, and I drove by, I waved, and I was like, I'm pretty sure they got a flat tire right by the Wildwood Bridge, and I turned around and I went back and changed her tires as well.
Wow.
That was very nice of you.
What a guy.
Also, another fun fact in terms of flat tires is...
Speaking of weddings,
yeah, speaking of weddings. So the day before I got married, I was trying to drive around my little niece at the time because she needed a nap. And I ended up getting a flat tire. So the moral of the story is, who do you call when you have a flat tire?
the guy who doesn't live in town.
The guy who doesn't live in town. Because I knew he could do it. So he already, Tyler and producer Parker kind of had a co-speech at my wedding. And it was not in the speech that we were going to mention about said flat tire the day before my wedding. But obviously he had to go on a little tangent to mention that I had another flat tire.
The people needed to know.
They needed to know.
They needed to know that it was a thing. So just so you know, if anybody has a flat tire out there, I know a guy.
There you go.
I know a guy.
There you go.
Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was just going to touch on Parker. So Parker said he likes how his memories of Tyler, his first over the fence home run, I believe only. Yeah,
Only.
Just so you know,
one
Chris,
and only.
just so you know, Chris, if you hit 2 home runs, you're gonna have more than what Tyler has in his entire career.
Now that's outside of the park. I've hit many inside.
Correct, because
Now,
he is the fastest guy on the team.
I don't think I could hit a over the fence home run. So there you go.
I'm pretty sure you could.
No, I'm pretty sure I couldn't. Your first baseball cleats. Do you have a story there with that?
Yeah, so I didn't play ball in Seymourville for a while there. Obviously, I played in Stratford, and producer Parker's dad saw me play and was like, "Yeah, Tyler needs baseball cleats." I never had baseball cleats. I just played in running shoes, and I that's kind of a testament to why I think I learned how to play baseball a little bit differently and kind of better. Like, focus on your hands. You're not playing with the best equipment. And producer Parker, God bless his dad's soul, came over and went to a garage sale and picked up these Converse cleats and dropped them off. Like, was just like, "Don't worry about paying me for them. It's going to be like better for Tyler. He's a good ball player, but he'll be a better ball player for this." And I was like, that's amazing. Like, that, you don't get that often from people to kind of go out of their way and like really care about somebody that they hardly even really knew, but, you know, understood their passion for the sport. And so, like, that again isn't kudos to me. That's kudos to producer Parker's dad. And like, I think a lot of people owe that individual a lot. So,
And speaking of a passion that you have for the sport, do you remember the time that you used a pump in left field after a huge rainstorm to make sure we could play baseball that night?
yeah, see, this is the thing. Okay, I wasn't really working a lot. Okay, in the summer times from university,
Right,
I do the odd job here and there, but I don't know. It meant a lot to me that everybody could play the game. So usually we would play after a younger team would play, but in order for them to play, we had to like pump out a bunch of water that'd be sitting in left field. So we'd take a pump, shop vac, whatever it is, and do that. And I mean, I'd be out there at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock after heavy rain and do that. But like, again, it's not about me. It wasn't about that. It was about the fact that like we wanted to play, and the only way to do that was to clear the water, right?
Also, granted, he had more flexibility because he wasn't working at the time.
100%.
Yeah, totally. You know, one thing that you're really great at, Tyler, is providing fireside entertainment.
Yes.
AKA dancing in the fire.
The thing is fire's not going to hurt you. You know?
I mean, it actually is.
No. If you
I feel as though you like hula hooped a couple times around a fire going back to the Hawaii.
If you've ever been to any of these Hawaiian luau's that I've been to up here, you can get yourself in and out of a fire, no problem. The only thing that doesn't, win out of a fire is somebody's lawn chair from the grandmother.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we covered that on a previous episode.
Yes.
So one thing I wanted to cover before we go is we mentioned on the podcast before that you and I went to spring training to see the Blue Jays in I think it was 2013, and as part of that we drove to Detroit and then took our flight to Tampa from Detroit. And part of that obviously is crossing the border in Windsor. And I remember the conversation that we had with the very nice border guard in the United States there.
I do as well.
And we were talking about baseball. Because we were saying, he's saying, "Where are you going?" We were telling him where we're going.
Big Detroit Tigers fan he was.
Big Tigers fan. And I remember you dropped an F-bomb and the word bomb to him as you were crossing the border in reference to Prince Fielder's home run that he hit like the night before.
Yeah.
And he was just totally cool with it.
He was so happy.
So that was a pretty good experience because I don't know many people who would be as brave as you to say that to a border crossing guard.
This is very true. Yeah. For a person who has a filter, he sure as hell doesn't have any filter.
Yeah.
Do I get an opportunity to speak about my favorite thing about Tyler?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing?
My favorite thing about Tyler, let me tell you, is the commitment that his friends make to him and the relationships that he's built with individuals. I think more often than not, we don't kind of do this kind of introspective kind of review of ourselves and realize that the person that we are isn't made possible without the people around us. So my favorite thing about myself is the individuals around me. So I appreciate this, guys. I hope my fiance still makes it through this wedding.
Let's be hoping.
But we'll drink to that.
Exactly. Either way, we're probably having beers.
Yeah. Cheers to you.
Yes, cheers to you.
Cheers to you guys. All right, that's enough about me, and that's enough of this episode. So thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening. Keep on listening every other Thursday as Craft Beer Connoisseurs releases a new episode, and on our off Thursdays for a producer special.
And make sure to tell your friends, family, and your favorite person that you met at a Hawaiian luau.
Jeez Louise. So from all of us and producer Parker, I'm Tyler.
I'm Brett.
And I'm Chris, and together we're the Craft Beer Connoisseurs.